Good morning, everybody. Wake up. Wake up, wake up. In Provincetown. This week featuring Wake up, wake up. Can I have some coffee? Wake up, wake up. Make it strong, please. Hey. Oh. Hey. Wake up, wake up.
Oh. Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, November 4th. This is Wake Up in Provincetown. I'm Bob.
And I'm Harrison.
How are you?
I'm really good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's going on?
The usual. It was my first week post Red-In closing, so it was a lot of downtime. Unfortunately, I got a little sick at the beginning of the week, so I spent Tuesday, Wednesday, and most of Thursday chilling at home, which is kind of what I wanted to do anyway, but I wanted to chill and feel great.
Are you better now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It came and went. Zycam's a dream.
Oh, that's awesome.
What's happening in the kitchen?
I don't know.
It's wild.
Can you hear that, Andrew?
No, perfect.
Okay.
Good. But it's November 4th. That date always weirdly sticks out in my head because that is the date I took my driver's test.
And when you were 16?
Yeah, and it was just this date in the future that I was looking so forward to. So, yeah. So I'm always like, November 4th? What happened on November? Oh, right. My driver's test. Yeah.
It is also the first Friday in November, which, as you know, means it's the first day of clamming for the winter.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
You can get your shell fishing license today. I ordered mine online. I'm going out today. Low tide is at 2:41. So I'll see you out on the flats.
Oh,
some of you,
perfect.
hopefully. I know.
I was like, but don't you have to work?
No. Work is over.
We love to see it.
Hi, Julian. But also, this finally came out. This is the Commons Cookbook Volume 1. These are for sale. It is a fundraiser for the Commons. And my clam chowder recipe is in it.
You did a clam chowder recipe?
I did.
Cute.
And so today, after I go clamming, I can make this clam chowder recipe.
Are these for sale?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
And also, say at the pie making contest that I am a celebrity judge of, they're giving these away or they're selling these. These are part of the event on Sunday, which is at the Commons from 1 to 3. My co-celebrity judges are Julian Sear and James Beard winner Kelly Fields. We're going to judge some pies. So if you're free, there's tons of stuff to do this weekend.
Who's making the pies?
I don't even know. We're not allowed to know. It's a blind, if then I would pick my friend's pie, So we have to eat these pies without knowing who made them.
Cute. And it's hosted by Kristen Becker and also Saltine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But before we get to this weekend, let's talk about last week. What did you do? How was your week?
Let's talk more about the cookbook. What's the deal?
This is just so amazing. So they got a bunch of local people to donate one recipe each. Each chapter features a painting.
Oh, that's so cute.
I know.
We got Donna Pomponio.
Mm-hmm.
We did an interview with her last year, and we both utterly fell in love with her.
Donna, of course, has her studio at the Commons. I think it's changing, right? It's all new people now?
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I love that.
So it's new art. The Commons is only a 2-year thing. So the artists that were there are now elsewhere. Where do they go? Well, who's there now?
They find a new spot.
Oh, we're going to find out for you.
Yeah.
But this is broken up into chapters. It's like starters, like any cookbook.
Katie Ledoux, Gaston Lacombe, Paul Benson.
What did Paul Benson submit?
A sweet corn salad.
Ooh, he brings that to a lot of things. I've had Paul's sweet corn
that.
salad. I just love it. Get one, you guys.
Yeah.
It's for a good cause, and I'm certain that all of these recipes are super delicious. When I submitted my recipe to Jimmy Broussard, who was the one collecting them, I made it really kind of jokey, figuring he would take all that out, and he just pasted it exactly the way that I wrote it.
Good.
Which is great.
Yeah, you drag Mama Lee in it, right?
Did I?
No. Well, I mean, kind of.
No.
Well, he starts the recipe by begin the recipe by going out into the tidal flats and getting clams.
Go clamming.
Or
I said, it was very Ina Garten. I was like, store-bought clams are fine, but they're not. But then my recipe is opposite a page that starts with canned clams. And it's not Jimmy Lee, it's my friend Pete Hocking. Pete, I did not know you were going to submit this when I wrote mine. But
yeah. All these recipes look amazing and delicious, and it's so fun to see. Like, you go to house parties, especially in the winter, and people bring their kind of like iconic dish along. So it's great that you can now get to make it yourself. Super cute.
Yeah, this is really, really great. I mean, not everybody can go clamming whenever the hell they want. You know, that's a luxury that we have here. I think most people in the rest of the world use canned clams or previously frozen clams. You know, store-bought's fine.
But I had a really good week. This weekend happening right now is the Food and Wine Festival. We're super excited about that. Me and Bob had one of the yesterday was the kickoff event over at the Masthead that I attended. It was super great. Mike Flanagan and Joe Santos were playing some music for it. Super fun, as well as Christian on the drums. And it was just like a nice, fun hangout with tons of wine. I might have drank too much.
Really?
Just 4 glasses of wine in the middle of the day is a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
And then to go drink beer and host trivia.
I didn't drink any beer because I couldn't, because I shouldn't. But then we had the kickoff event here at the brewery. It was trivia. Me and Bob wrote our rounds on food and wine in honor of the Food and Wine Festival. And people really liked it.
Back when we used to host trivia together all the time, I was the one that always got, oh, your round's so hard. And last night it was you.
I thought my round was good. After Bob was doing his round, I was like, these people are going to be upset that my round is so easy. And then I started reading the questions, and it was like dumbfounded silence after every question. Whoops.
But it was fun. Lots of people.
Lately, there was been a couple people who are like, are we going to get any questions that we know tonight? And I go, I don't know, or it depends how smart you are. Drag them. But it was a lot of fun. It was one of the busiest trivias we've had in a long time. Trivia has now moved to every Thursday night through the winter. The brewery is going to be open Thursday through Sunday all winter. So we moved trivia to Thursday for that.
Are they already closed Monday through Wednesday?
I'm not sure if it's already begun, but I think it's going to begin shortly. Yeah. But it was really exciting to see how much people knew about wine. We did have a few ringers in the audience. There was Carmen, who works, you probably know her from, she has hosted our show once, and also she works at Perry's, so obviously she knows a lot about wine.
And Ori, who owns the East End Market, like when it came down to a tiebreaker, I was like, so the tiebreaker is probably going to be like, what are the primary grapes in Champagne? And she just went, blah, blah, blah. What a stupid question. And I was like, Ori.
Wow.
People were hyper
That was specifically one of my questions. Okay. And only 2 teams got it right out of 20.
Oh, she was the person who got it right. When she was just like, how easy for me. I'm like, yeah, but nobody else knows it. So how lucky for you.
Yeah, it was one of those hard rounds to write in. Like, not that I know a lot about wine, but I worked at a steakhouse where we did wine tastings every Friday. And we were like supposed to know about wine. I don't know if I reached the level that I was supposed to, but I did retain a little, so it's hard to know what the average person knows. But last weekend was Halloween. Did you get up to anything wild and crazy and fun?
Well, after working those last 4 days of work, which were wild, insane, super busy, it was like August. Monday was Halloween, of course, and we had our staff party. It's nice to see everybody letting their hair down and celebrating a year's worth of hard work, or 6 months rather, a season's hard work.
Yeah, thank you so much to the owners of the Red Inn for providing us with a really fantastic staff party, as well as the entire staff at the Crown and Anchor for providing us a safe, warm, and welcoming environment to be entirely drunk at. Yeah.
I had to leave the staff party early to go to the Saltine and Ann Hutchinson show.
I did the same.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Oh, yeah. Saltine and Ann Hutchinson were entirely amazing. I think they're going to do another one for Thanksgiving, but I think it's just going to be Ann. I don't think Saltine can make it to that one, but that's going to be a killer show as well. They sold out and then some. They had every seat sold out in advance with tickets, but they did allow people like me who hadn't bought one in advance to do standing room, which was very nice.
Yeah, good times. Hilarious ladies, a double bill.
Yeah.
They did about half an hour each of stand-up. That's a long set.
That's a very long set.
You know, for somebody who doesn't do it all the time.
A tight 30, it's a lot.
It was great, though. Go.
Last weekend on Friday, my friend Benji and Sunny had a house party for Halloween, and I went dressed as a slutty ghost, which I think I talked about last Friday on the show. I think we have a picture of me as a slutty ghost, Benji as fancy cheese, And Sunny,
Fancy cheese.
yeah, and Sunny was a character from a show that he loves called Over the Garden Wall.
Is it a cartoon?
Yeah, it's super cute. It's cute. Also, so I was texting with Joe and Todd all night while they were getting ready, and I was like, when are you guys coming to the party? When are you coming to the party? And then finally they arrived, and it took me a few seconds to realize what they were, but I think we have a picture up now. I guess we're icons now.
It's like basically this shirt that he's wearing too.
Right, exactly. You're kind of dressed as Todd dressed as you right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Joe and Todd dressed up as everyone's favorite morning talk show hosts, Harrison and Bob. Yeah.
When you was it you that sent me the picture? Whoever sent it to me, the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, somebody photoshopped Joe's face onto Harrison's body. Like, it looked like you. It really did. He does your hair, right?
Yeah, everyone kept being like, oh, you entirely nailed his hair. You did it so perfectly. And he's like, well, I do his hair. So that makes sense. But it was fun watching the people that are in town that know, be like, oh my God, that's so funny. And the people are like, I don't get it. Which was understandable, but it was fun to watch. Did you get up to anything else fun for Halloween?
For Halloween?
Oh, you kind of worked all weekend.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I just worked Saturday night and then laid low Sunday night because I knew Monday, as most staff parties go, was going to be wild and crazy.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody that came to the Red-In this year. We'll see you at the end of April.
Yeah.
Last weekend of April, we'll be back.
You know, that's what's so special about the last weekend is you get all of the regulars come in to visit and hang out and enjoy.
I know, but they walk in and they're like, oh, aren't you so sad? And I'm like, no.
Absolutely not.
Oh,
yeah.
Very, very happy.
Yeah. I am bummed because people speak. Have never been here when they've done Christmas, New Year's, and the whole shebang. But people speak so fondly of the memories that they made at the Red-In for Halloween or for Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. So it's a bummer that doesn't happen anymore. But that just means there's new spots to find, new places.
Right, and it's a beautiful place during the holidays to see it with Christmas lights and everything.
Yeah, we should collect like a list of people doing Thanksgiving stuff for next week.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because people are always asking. Yeah.
We will tell you. There's a couple places open hosting Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And also the canteen does a really nice, you can order basically a whole Thanksgiving menu to go.
Yeah, I think a few places are doing that. I think Ori at East End Market is doing some stuff along those lines. So
what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
I think I'm going to be at my parents'.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whole family?
Yeah. Extended. The whole deal.
Good.
Yeah. I'm excited.
What's new in the world?
There were two significant news stories coming out of Provincetown this week. One was not the end of the Lady of the Dunes saga, but a huge milestone in it. If you don't know, Lady of the Dunes was a woman who was found murdered in the dunes some 40 years ago. And up until this past week, it was considered a cold case, unsolved. They had not identified the victim. But this past week, they identified the victim as Ruth Marie Terry, which is huge. It still blows my mind that they're able to do things like this for 40 years after it had happened. But they used forensic genealogy. And I don't know the exact details of how that worked, but I imagine so many crimes are now being solved because there's this huge database of DNA that is now available, mostly from people doing 23andMe, things like that. So a lot of crimes are being solved, and it is incredible that they're able to put a name to this woman and to their family can know. And now I even saw a picture. Up until this point, the woman was laid to rest here in Provincetown, and it was just an unnamed gravestone, and someone went and put a placard with her name on it.
Already?
Yeah. It was just like a little taped paper sign, but still important to do things like that. It was
the longest unsolved murder case in the state.
Right.
And have you read up about who they thought might have done it?
They thought it was Whitey Bulger, right?
No. They think it was the man that she married 5 months before she died, who had been accused of murdering a previous wife and stepdaughter about 15 years before in California. This guy was married 5 times. 2 of his wives vanished. They found Ruth Marie Terry and identified her. His first wife and daughter were never found.
Oh, wow.
But this is so crazy. In the house where he lived with that first wife, when the police went looking for the bodies, they found female human remains in a septic tank in the basement, and this guy still got away with it.
Wait, so they weren't able to identify those remains as?
They couldn't even tell if it was bones from just one person. But obviously, that was her and her daughter in the basement septic tank. This guy goes on to marry Ruth Marie Terry 14 years later. 5 months after their marriage, she disappears.
Damn.
And then 10 years after that, he moves back to California and becomes a sort of famous radio host whose whole like shtick is like, murder has become a hobby. Like, there's just too much violence in America. Like,
wait, what?
I know! Isn't that insane?
Utterly insane.
This person died 20 years ago. I'm like, I wish he was still alive so they could get him.
Yeah.
But it's too late. He got away with all of it. Isn't that crazy?
It's too much.
It makes it all even crazier.
Yeah. But I'm sure it provides some solace to the families to know, and
Yeah.
I'm still unfortunate that he did indeed get away with it.
I know. All of it. Got away with so much.
Do you know the other town drama I'm speaking of?
What is it?
Have you been to Cumberland Farms lately?
Oh, they're closing at 2:00 now?
Yeah, so there was a sign on Cumberland Farms' door this past week that announced that their hours are going to be changing from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., which in my brain, Cumberland Farms is only for snacks at 11 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for like getting coffee in the morning, but that's just my thing. But a lot of people were posting about it and were very upset. The word is that it's because they're unable to staff, and when staffing troubles come up, it brings up a lot of different takes on that.
Yes, there were a lot of hot takes I saw online.
Yeah. Do you know what we don't need as many of?
Hot takes.
Hot takes. Less hot takes. I think we got them all.
Well, what do you think people were saying?
Well, my hot take.
Yeah,
No,
exactly. No, who's right?
I just think it's a housing issue. It's like, I think they're paying $17 an hour, which
You can't live here on that, though.
yeah, exactly. You can't. And also, I think Stop and Shop does 19 an hour. So when the pool of potential workers is so small, and you could work at Stop and Shop for 19 or Cumberland Farms for 17, obviously you're going to do Stop and Shop.
Right.
But people are kind of acting like it's an utter travesty that we can't go get 99-cent coffee at 7 o'clock at night.
It does suck, but
totally.
This is the inevitable result of what's been happening here.
Yeah. But there's always one or two people who are like, it's a no-skill job. Why would anyone expect to get paid more than minimum wage to do it?
That person is wrong.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, sure, it is. To say something is a no-skill job is so foolish. There's jobs and there's the skills needed to do that job always. Right. There's no such thing as like a no-skill or a low-skill job. And it's up to people to decide their own worth. And just because a job has been created that's considered low-skill or no-skill doesn't mean that the people providing that job have like the right to have someone come do it.
Right. And also, these are the kind of jobs that, like, if you grew up here and you're looking for your first job in high school, you'd go do something like work at Cumbies or work at the Stop and Shop. We don't have kids living here anymore. Our workforce is not being replaced by younger people. We have an older, aging workforce here that is dwindling, and nobody new coming to work. Nobody grows up here anymore. Or very few people.
They do. It's just we're missing a chunk of a generation.
Yeah. And it's also because of the housing crisis has led to a worker shortage. There are the jobs that are it's seeming like this is kind of, we've seen the effects of worker shortage in the past, but this seems to be the first kind of really noticeable one where there's probably not any Cumberland Farms or convenience store in the rest of the country that is closing at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
And even when it said 4, it actually closed at 2 the other day.
Right.
And people are like, what the? I'm like, well,
right.
They're hiring.
Right. But it's because there's a worker shortage, the jobs that are the least desirable are the first ones to be noticeably empty. And it's not to say that working at Cumberland Farms is some awful, horrible thing, but it's like when you could go be a host at a restaurant for comparably the same amount of money as it is to stock shelves with Sour Patch Kids. People are going to choose to do jobs that are a little more desirable. And it kind of goes back to the whole idea of it being a no-skill job that should be paid minimum wage.
Right, but it was restaurants first. People closed 2 days a week this year. It's been happening for a couple of years now.
Yeah. So. We're going to continue to see the effects.
Yeah.
So
Just wait till Stop and Shop closes at 1 in the afternoon.
Oh my God, that would be bad.
I mean,
Yeah.
happen.
CVS closes early.
They do?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's just the beginning. Get used to it.
I totally thought you were going to say something about pickleball. Did you watch that?
I was just about to.
Is it the Judy Gold thing?
No.
Oh my God. Well, do your thing first.
So it recently got announced that they're doing a pickleball special. It's like a celebrity pickleball tournament.
Fundraiser for comic relief.
Exactly. Who's the host of it? Jimmy?
Stephen Colbert.
Oh, one of them. But I noticed, obviously, because our friend Mari Bartlett is going to be on it. He looks so cute in his little headband. I think we have a little picture of that. But it's going to be celebrities like Will Ferrell. Who else do we got? Daniel Day Kim, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tig Notaro.
Sugar Ray Leonard?
Yeah. Kelly Rowland, Emma Watson.
And we have the hot tip. It's teams of 2, and Murray got paired with Kelly Rowland.
I love that. It's the Provincetown team.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember when Kelly got lost at sea about 10 years ago. It was like a big news story. And I was like, Murray, did she tell you?
That's when they filmed the Survivor music video, right?
No.
Oh.
It was 20 years ago. But I was like, did she tell you about getting lost at sea? He's like, she's still deeply traumatized by that.
That is a scary experience.
He was like, she doesn't really want to go back and visit Provincetown. But please come see us, Kelly
She
Rowland.
couldn't go to CVS or.
Yeah, why would you
work
come?
there, though.
She can work there. Oh my God.
Mark, Jesus Christ.
But it's so weird because like I was reading through it and I expected it to be like somehow politicized because pickleball is such a politicized issue. I'm like, oh no, they're just playing it and having fun.
I want to see people picketing the
Oh
charity
my God,
tournament.
it's going to be Judy Gold.
So, remember when we asked Judy Gold for a comment on pickleball, and she went, and like didn't give us a comment?
Yeah.
On Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel last week, Mary Carrillo interviewed Judy Gold about pickleball.
Interesting.
And like came to Provincetown. There's Judy Gold laying. You guys, if you haven't seen it, it's on HBO on demand. You have to watch it. Judy Gold's laying in bed, and Mary Carrillo is standing there. She's like, "Listen, this is what I hear all day long," and it's like, flop, flop, flop. Damn it, Susan! Like you know what you hear for 8 hours at a stretch listening to pickleball. I feel so bad for Judy, but she really let them have it. Like she gave them the comment that we were looking for.
I love that.
She's like, "This fucking noise." I was like, you can say fucking on Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel?
It's HBO.
You're right, it is
Kids
HBO.
on HBO.
Not on Real Sports, but definitely check it out if you haven't watched it yet.
Interesting.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, sad too.
Wait, so like they filmed it in her home here and it was like just like you could hear the noise of it all?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they probably did. She's like, you didn't even have to plan it because it's all the time.
Yeah, literally. And I don't think it's going away anytime soon. I don't think they've succeeded in trying to ban it or stop it or, you know.
I mean, they created an entire commission on it.
Yeah. I mean, and it's still the fastest growing sport in America and the world. They were like, just wait till it reaches China, who loves ping pong and tennis. You know, like the sound, we'll hear it from China.
Oh my God.
I can see Russia from my porch and I can hear pickleball from China. It's going to be like that.
Are there any articles at the town meeting next week that are going to be pickleball related?
The special town meeting?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
I haven't read the warrant, though, because I'm not going to be here, so I'm not going to get to vote on November 9th.
I also am not going to be here, which is unfortunate. But if you are a Provincetown voter, be sure to put it on your calendars and get there to vote and make your opinion heard. Also, November 8th is voting day, so be sure to have a plan to vote either that day or in advance. I think you can still vote early.
I voted yesterday.
Yeah, you can still vote early here at Town Hall in Provincetown, but just make sure this is an important one. So, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens after Tuesday.
Yeah. I'm trying not to have a panic attack about it all.
It's going to be fine.
Yeah. I also spoke last week about how Sam Smith and Kim Petras made a landmark #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 for being the first out non-binary person and also the first trans person to have a #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100. And more records were broken since then.
Yeah.
So they were #1 for 1 week and 1 week only, as they dropped entirely out of the top 10 this past week to make way for 10 Taylor Swift songs.
Yeah, she's the first person to ever have every single spot. No, you don't like this? Ethan is shaking his head.
Yeah, well, so this record was previously held for such a long time by the Beatles, where it had five songs in the top 10. They had held 1 through 5, all the positions. That record was broken by Drake a few years back when he held 7 of the top 10 positions, and that record was indeed broken this past week by Taylor Swift when she held every single spot in the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. Going into the week, they always release kind of like a prediction or like this is what's probably likely going to happen, and it was 9 Taylor Swift songs with Unholy by Kim Petras and Sam Smith in the number 8 spot, which quickly created a campaign by the Swifties, Taylor Swift fans, to stream the few songs that hadn't quite broken into the top 10 to remove Unholy from the top 10 so that they could set this record, and they succeeded.
The fans did it. They gamed the system. They wanted her to have this, and she got it. Also, though, say what you want about Taylor Swift, Ethan. She is the first, I'm going to say this, she's the first, I think, narcissistic egomaniac to say out loud, it's me, I'm the problem. Yeah. And not just say it, but put it to a melody and a beat and release it as the first single from her album.
My favorite line, and the only line I know, is sometimes I feel like everyone's a sexy baby.
I don't like that.
I just think it's such a weird line.
I don't care for that. You don't know it's me, hi, I'm the problem. That's the whole chorus.
That is also a TikTok.
It's the most self-aware thing she's ever done, and I appreciate that.
Is she speaking about her carbon footprint and the fact that she uses more private flights than any other celebrity in the world?
Does she?
Yeah.
More private flights than anyone.
She, like, I want to say, like, last year she had 300 private flights in 365 days.
Well, that's probably not what she meant.
It's her. She's the problem. It's her. Yeah. Speaking of nudity on HBO, there's been
sinister.
There's a lot of talk about different social medias in the news these days. We spoke about Grindr going public, having a new CEO, and his conservative viewpoints that he has made clear on Twitter. The CEO, the original creator of Grindr, is no longer involved with Grindr and launching a new gay social media dating app called Motto.
Motto?
Yeah. Elon Musk finally took over Twitter with his $40 billion takeover, and is already seemingly running it into the ground.
Well, you can buy a blue check mark for $8 a month.
His plan to make Twitter financially feasible because he's in a lot of financial trouble because the debt that he took out to buy Twitter, he is going to have to pay $1 billion in interest a year on his loan. And Twitter has made losses for the past 2 years. Yeah. And also because of the instability of Twitter now, because of his takeover, they're saying that advertisers are backing out like crazy because of what they expect Twitter to become in the time that Elon is owning it. He immediately fired one of the people that is in charge of moderating or setting policy to moderate posts. They have said that people are already testing the bounds of what is going to be allowed on Elon Musk's Twitter. There was I want to say a 500% increase in racial slurs, homophobic slurs.
What do you know? Do you think Elon Musk for 1 second said, it's me, I'm the problem?
I don't think he'll ever acknowledge that or think that, right? And people are also posting things, reposting things that they had posted months prior that got them bans. And now they're like, oh, not getting banned anymore.
Yeah, it's a gross shithole, but it's still one of the best places to find free gay porn. But they're going to start charging you for that too.
Right. So his idea was that he was going to start charging for for the blue checks, which basically say you are who you are, you're a real person. And I think was it Stephen King who's the first person to be like, I'm not paying for a fucking blue check. But they're also, because of that, you can also pay the $20 and get your own blue check. Anyone can.
Yeah.
Which completely seemingly delegitimizes what Twitter is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of porn on Twitter, in other social media news, Tumblr used to be my go-to for porn. I don't know if it was anyone else's, but back in 2018, they removed all they removed all sexually explicit content and nudity from the site. It was so weird. There was just one day where they deleted all nudity and sexually explicit content from Twitter and then seemingly just allowed it to get put back on, because there's still a fair amount of it on Twitter, I hear.
You mean Tumblr?
Tumblr, that's what I meant. And but this past, what'd you say? I hear.
You hear with your eyes on your own phone.
Right. But they did announce this past week, they said, we now welcome a broader range of expression, creativity, and art on Tumblr, including content depicting the human form. Yes, that includes the naked human form.
Tumblr just said that?
Yeah, so Tumblr is now going to officially allow nudity, but not sexually explicit content.
Okay.
It has to be like arty porn.
I'll leave it deleted off my phone then. I'm not putting it back on.
We'll see. I'll let you know.
Yeah,
I'll let you know.
Keep me posted.
Right, but he also said, I'm personally extremely libertarian in terms of what consenting adults should be able to share, and I agree with go nuts, show nuts in principle, but the casually porn-friendly era of the early internet is currently impossible. That was a statement from the CEO. They said they're going to continue to prohibit visual depictions of sexually explicit acts, along with hate, spam, violent threats, or anything illegal. And this change was basically made because app stores and credit card companies are, they have to be very diligent about what they offer and what things they work with, because a place like Tumblr is all self-produced content.
Right.
There's no way to moderate whether the people in the images are 18.
Right.
If they're being
forced to do it?
Yeah, if they're being forced to do it, or if the people viewing it are 18 years old. And if a credit card company is being used on a site like that to purchase things, they can be held liable if someone were to purchase child pornography or sexually explicit images that are considered illegal. So credit card companies can't really work with that, which creates a huge problem for the company, as well as app stores. Anything with nudity, it often is hard to get on an app store like the Apple App Store because of the same deal. They can be held liable for providing a platform for child pornography.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, can we go back a second to Motto? Like, how is this different from Grindr?
I don't really know.
Okay.
But the original creator of Grindr did say that he recently said that he feels like he created a monster and is now trying to make good on that.
Okay.
Grindr's terrible. It's a hellhole. It's a hellscape.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why? A hellscape?
This is my weird take on Grindr, is that as insecure humans, we're always comparing ourselves and to other people, and kind of that all gets eaten up in your mind and you take it all to heart. And what Grindr weirdly does is it creates additional representations of people that you then are going to use to compare to yourself. When I'm on Grindr, I pick 4 pictures to represent myself, so that I am idealizing myself within 4 pictures, and then the viewer then again idealizes me based on those 4 pictures.
Right.
So then this person is now taking to heart this idealization of another person, which just like Instagram and all this stuff, it creates this heightened level of comparison and insecurity and disappointment.
You know what? Well, that's why the Sean Treadwell approach is best. He puts really terrible pictures of himself on there. He goes, I want to walk in and for the person to be like, wow,
totally,
you look way better than the pictures that you put on there.
Yeah.
Just do that.
Because the opposite is heartbreaking.
He's like, if they hit me up, even with those bad pictures, I know I've got it made.
Oh my God.
But no one's ever disappointed.
No, I often will show the pictures I use on dating sites and Grindr and Scruff and things like that to my friends. You'd be like, is this what I look like? Please tell me. If you're like, no, that's not what you look like, I will fix it, because
pull it up during the break.
we'll do a poll next week. I'll show all the pictures I use from my Grindr and Scruff profile, and we can all rate me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. What else do I got? I think that might be all I have.
No more Brittany Griner news? I think they're still trying to get her out.
Yeah, Brittany Griner did meet with U.S. officials this past week for the first time. They hadn't seen her in person since this past August. It's it's sad because it's once again we're like kind of rehashing the same thing. She's still being held. She's still classified as unlawfully detained by the U.S. government. I think her wife Sherelle spoke at an event this past week and asked to have if you wanted to write her letters to do that. It's entirely sad. It's going to destroy this young woman's life, and it's just heartbreaking. That's the news on that.
On a happier note, on Halloween night, I did get to go see Space Pussy. They were back.
You made it?
I did. They were back at the Governor Bradford, which I think they consider like home for a long time. It's a really amazing show. One of my favorite performers, of course, is Penny Champagne, and I have like a little minute's worth of Penny's performance to show you guys. Andrew, do we have that clip?
In other words, if you ain't got time to take a walk with me on my meat rack, then you can just get the hell out of my bread line. Yeah! Fuck off, baby! Fuck off! Yo, fuck yourself! Fuck off!
That was so good. You didn't get to go.
No, I danced the night away at Red Room.
You need to go back and watch that. Penny's makeup was, as always, outstanding. Please welcome to the show, Donna Buckley.
Hey, Bob. Nice to meet you. Harrison, nice to meet you.
To meet you, Donna.
So you are running for sheriff in Tuesday's election.
Yes, I am.
And you have been general counsel in the sheriff's office for how long?
4 years.
Okay, so you've already been working in the office. You know the lay of the land.
Yes, yes. So I left my job in March to run for this because for us in Barnstable County, first of all, in January, 83% of the people in Massachusetts didn't even know who their sheriff was or that their sheriff was elected. So the important thing is, what the hell does the sheriff do? And as I worked there, I came to understand what we need to be doing and what we should be doing and what other sheriff's offices are doing in Massachusetts is making sure when people get released from the jail that they don't commit more crimes, they don't make more victims, they don't die, and that they don't come back. Because we're paying tax dollars to keep them incarcerated, to pay their debt, to be held accountable. But at the jail, lesser crimes, people are coming back into our communities, and our job is to make sure that we give them the tools they need to rebuild their lives and move on.
Yeah, people are, especially the last few years, I imagine people are going to get a lot more involved in races like this because there's been a lot of talk about how we relate to law enforcement and also where we want to see the priorities of law enforcement when it comes to mental health, things like that. And especially, I know you're working fairly closely with Julian, and he passed a mental health bill this past year. How does that affect the way you kind of view being a sheriff?
So a couple things there. First, 60 to 80% of the people in the jail are dealing with mental illness and addiction. And most of them are dual diagnosis. So when you think about that, our jails have become our de facto mental health institutions. You know, I lived through a time when we closed them all. And we didn't replace them with services. So people are ending up in our criminal justice system who are sick, not criminals first. They do bad things, they make bad choices, but if we had better support services in our communities, a lot of them wouldn't even be there. But they're there. The sheriff doesn't decide who comes, but the sheriff's job and our resources need to be focused on giving people the treatment and starting that, I call it continuum of service, so that people can succeed when they're released. And that looks different for everyone. The law enforcement piece is an interesting aspect of this because in the old days when the sheriff was here, in colonial times, the sheriff was the law enforcement entity for the county. But it right now is more of a ceremonial title, because the law enforcement, what we think of as police and public-facing law enforcement that deals with people who are not already incarcerated, that's our municipal police departments, state police, municipal police, environmental police. They're the professionals that deal with people on the street.
Right.
The sheriff's work really begins where that ends. So, and so to say that the sheriff is the law enforcement entity for the county, it is not really an accurate description of what the job is.
Interesting.
And you are a mother and grandmother.
Yes, I am. Hardest part about this campaign has been having to interact with my granddaughters on FaceTime. They live in Raleigh, and I went all in March. I gave up my job, so I'm unemployed for the first time since I was 16, and I have not had the opportunity to spend as much time with them as I would like. But the reason I got into this race is because of them. Because we all can say that the world we live in today is crazy, but unless we're willing to step up and do something to give people a choice about how to make it different, then you can't complain. And so that's why I got in, because 6 more years of the same focus of our sheriff's office is not going to address the mental health and addiction issues that are happening in the jail. And it's not going to help figure out what roles people should be playing under the guise, I call it criminal justice, as opposed to law enforcement.
Right.
And Julian was saying these races are really tight. So it's really important for everybody to vote on Tuesday. If you haven't voted already, did you already vote? I
am going to vote Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock and then blast that picture all over Facebook to remind everybody else to vote.
Yeah.
This is, I have my new jewelry on. Because for me, this is the first opportunity to vote post-Dobbs. And it's devastating to be fighting the same fight that I was fighting in my, teens and 20s, 50 years later. Yeah. So both from a personal perspective, every person who cares about, personal integrity, women's rights, human rights, LGBTQ plus rights, every person who cares about privacy should be casting a vote on those values, because unless and until we get out from underneath this agenda that seeks to oppress everyone but a small group of people, then we're not going to be able to solve problems like the economy and inflation and housing and jobs, because we're still fighting in the same pool to keep the rights that we already had.
Right.
Man.
So that was doom and gloom for this morning, but but it's real. It's real. It's happening. Somebody said something about the impact of the Dobbs decision fading since it came down, and I'm thinking, how can we do anything else in our society if we can't write that and get government out of our private lives and stop judging us for things that they have no business judging us about.
No, I hear you.
So especially our friends and neighbors in Provincetown, please vote.
Yeah.
Get to town hall and vote.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're running against someone who's held this position for quite some time?
No.
Okay.
Well, all right. So there's a little bit of a nuance there. The current sheriff is retiring.
Okay.
He's been there for 24 years.
It's a 6-year term?
6-year term, which is huge. Think about it. The only other people in elected office that have 6-year terms are U.S. senators. Powerful position. He has endorsed and I guess selected his successor. So it kind of seems like I'm running against him, but I'm not. I'm running for the next 6 years. The nuance is that my opponent is proposing to continue the model that we currently have, which takes resources, our tax dollars, and uses them for things that don't relate to addiction and mental health treatment, that don't help people rebuild their lives while they're incarcerated and when they leave. For example, our sheriff's office, which is landlocked up on the base in Bourne, has a boat. Our sheriff's office doesn't have any jurisdiction on the water. Our sheriff's office doesn't need to be patrolling our waters. We pay the Coast Guard, we pay the local police, we pay the environmental police and the state police and harbor masters to do that job already. But we are spending our tax dollars to operate a boat and staff. And like everywhere else, the jail is short-staffed. My opponent is looking to create or to maintain a police department under the guise of the sheriff. Well, they have no original jurisdiction.
Right.
That goes back to your question about law enforcement. Why? We already pay for our municipal police. It's their profession. We need to support them by making sure that the people we send out of the jail don't encounter them again. But we don't need to do their job. And if we're spending all this resources and staff on trying to do other people's job, I call it mission creep, we can't do our own job. So, and it's also an empty promise because there are no staff at the sheriff's office to prop up our local police departments or to prop up the Coast Guard, nor should we. So it's a big difference between the two of us, and we're going to not be able to deal with the mental health and addiction crisis and the realities that we face if we are diverting our resources.
You've had some fairly impressive endorsements as well, though. Julian Sear, Sarah Peak, Maura Healy.
Us.
All right. This one's going up today.
Perfect.
Senator Sear has just given us the opportunity to take the mental health crisis and move on it. Those are the tools. That's the commitment that we need from the legislature to do this work. And when I think about the opportunities for us in Massachusetts with Maura Healy as governor, with people who have real experience other than the white male experience, to be able to tap in to all of that and a commitment to looking at the big, huge box that we all live in. So I'm proud of those endorsements. I'm proud to be running on a slate of uniquely qualified women. Right now, there are 15 sheriffs in Massachusetts, and they're all male. I would be the second female sheriff in Massachusetts. There was a female in Suffolk County in the 90s. So I'm proud of that. I think a lot of our work is breaking down stereotypes because there's no reason that they need to be male. And there's no reason that it needs to be called law enforcement when that's not the job.
Right.
So.
Do you remember She's the Sheriff with Suzanne Summers?
Vaguely. Maybe I'll go back and look it up.
Yeah.
Check it out. He was talking about it earlier.
Okay.
Well, you mentioned gloom and doom earlier. It's moments like this that make that gloom a little less dark. Seeing people that are passionate about making a change, making a difference, making it better for people.
So a couple of things I talk about, I've been having these conversations since March. First of all, this is our sheriff's office, and it's not mine. And if we don't vote for change, we're never going to have change. And we are at a critical time in our world where the majority of us think that it's spinning in the wrong direction. So if the majority of us think that, then the majority of us need to step forward and vote. And change is hard. But nothing's going to change if people just complain and don't vote.
Right.
Voting is a huge tool. It is the tool we have. It's how we got in this mess in the first place, and it's how we can get ourselves out of it.
Yeah. So please make a plan to vote either early or this upcoming Tuesday. Yeah.
You're going on Tuesday?
I think I might try to get there early.
Okay.
Just to not have to worry about it.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you both. This has been a pleasure. Thank you.
It's great meeting you.
Thank you.
I told you I voted yesterday. You got my vote.
All right. Thank you.
You have your other video?
Yeah. Last night at the Old Colony, Chris Wilcox and his band did something really, really fabulous. Check this out.
things that you do. You head to the country for a minute or two.
So Chris Wilcox is going to be there every Thursday for the foreseeable. Go check them out. Ian Leahy was playing bass last night. It was really fun. Thank you guys so much for being here. Jonathan Hawkins and Jake Hetnarski. Got it. So tell us about this dinner that you're doing. It's 6 courses.
9 courses.
9?
Yeah.
9 courses. So the Commons reached out to us and said, we want to partner with you for the Food and Wine Festival. We're releasing a cookbook that has one of Raina, who's our chef's recipes, and the recipe is cauliflower. And so
I love that cauliflower.
It's so
We
good.
had it at our staff party on Monday.
You did.
So Jake and Raina and I sat down. I was like, listen, this is what's happening. And then Jake was like, okay, give me a day. Like 24 hours later, he comes into my office. He's like, okay, we're starting with Raina's cauliflower. Cauliflower has feta. Feta, we're going to Greece. And I was like, I'm listening. And he's like, and we're going to tell the myth of Persephone. And I was like,
What's the myth of
I'm
Persephone?
in.
So, given Jonathan's background in music and producing everything, we thought that we could do something interesting and exciting and give ourselves a challenge by cooking a Greek myth. And Persephone is this well-known tale of like power and resilience. And Stravinsky performed an opera in the early 1920s where he broke it down into 3 parts. And so we have 3 acts. Each act has 3 courses, and there's going to be interesting performance. And
There's like performances involved too?
Yeah, so it's 3 acts, 3 scenes per act, and it's all told not only through food and wine pairings, but also through performance art throughout the entire evening. So we're transforming the restaurant into the garden in which Persephone gets kidnapped from, and then that turns into hell because Hades kidnaps her, and then we go back to the garden. Yeah. And we're adding elements. I mean, Jake and Raina are so creative and genius, and we're adding elements. Like when we first go to hell, guests will be served something on like burning charcoal. And like the first few minutes will be spent completely in the dark.
Oh my God, this is really ambitious.
yeah, it's going to be like a fully sensory, immersive experience. And
Have you ever done anything like this before?
I have.
You have?
In New York, I did something like this, and earlier this summer, I had the pleasure of being able to cook for John Waters at the Dump,
Okay.
which was its own set of challenges and excitement, cooking for like the grandfather of cult cinema at the Dump.
That was really fun though, right?
It was really fun, and this is maybe even more ambitious.
What time does this happen?
7 o'clock on Saturday.
7 o'clock on Saturday.
No matter what happens, people will talk about it. We're like, you know
absolutely.
what? People are either going to love it or they're going to be like, what the hell did I just do? But I think, regardless, we're confident that people will have a good time and hopefully appreciate the creativity that went into sort of, the whole evening.
Yeah.
Well, this year's Food and Wine Festival is like so womped up. I mean, last year was fun, but it was the first one, and you could tell everybody was kind of like finding their way. Everything about this year's is just so much bigger and more fun and like immersive, and I'm so excited about this.
It's also like so the Crown and Anchor to be like, what if it was food and wine, but a performance?
Very, very that.
Very on trend. Very on brand, rather.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Raina and I are also super excited to be able to step out of our like regular day job at the Crown, where we have sort of an approachable menu, but with our style. And I think we collaborate super well together because we care a lot about sustainable, organic, local, comforting foods. And a lot of our food and style is based in nostalgia, which carries over a little bit into this event, as does our style. But instead of it being comforting and nurturing at points, the food will definitely be surprising and terrifying.
And like uncomfortable. We want, hell shouldn't be, you shouldn't have like an easy time eating, your bird in hell. Like you're going to have to work for it.
Yeah, exactly.
How long have you worked with Raina?
A year and a half. we met maybe 2.5 years ago, but Raina hired me full time in May of 21.
Mm-hmm. She's great, right? I've loved her forever.
Yeah. I mean, congratulations to you both and also Chef Raina for such an incredible program over at Elena this past summer.
Thank you. Yeah, that's been really fun. And this is our first restaurant job post-COVID and our first time collaborating in a restaurant setting, which we're so grateful to Jonathan.
Wow, it's been awesome.
Also, you just announced like a Bar Bites menu that's going to be happening. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little about that.
So, the Crown and Anchor has Piano Bar.
Yeah.
Which is the Crown and Anchor.
Right.
You see it from Commercial Street all the time. And we wanted to be able to offer small bites even if we're not open for dinner at the Piano Bar so people can nosh a little bit, drink. And
excellent.
That's perfect.
Yeah. You know, there's not a whole lot open, as we know, past 9.
Right.
And so this summer, I came to them. I was like, let's create something that is, you know, doesn't require a huge amount of staff to be there, but will still be able to offer our guests food. And I am like a big late night eater.
Same.
And so
and you don't have Cumbies anymore.
Yeah,
No,
that's how I'm going to say that one. And so it's things like chicken and waffles and like these delicious homemade chicken tenders and loaded tater tots, which Anthony House
I live for tater
eats on.
tots.
Yeah, me too. They're delicious. And then still some of our like staples like the Crown Smash Burger and other things, but just something that you can get late at night while also listening to John Richardson.
Through till the end of the year?
We're figuring that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're all figuring it out.
We are
We're
all
every
figuring
day.
it out.
Every day.
Well, congratulations. You're gonna knock it out of the park.
thank you.
Thanks.
You too.
Thanks. I'll try.
Remember, it is Food and Wine Festival weekend, so be sure to check that out. And you can check out the Provincetown Food and Wine Festival website for all of the details about everything going on this weekend. Make sure to make it to everything.
Where do you get tickets for this?
ptownfoodandwinefestival.com. Yeah, but there also is a link only at thecrown.com.
Excellent. Yeah, congratulations.
I actually think there are only 3 left.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh my god.
So get them.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're gone now already.
Yeah.
Hurry.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Also, a couple more things about like
More things.
yeah. So Rosie's Cantina has moved into the Pilgrim House for a winter
I
pop-up.
love that.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
This is news, Julian. And also, I wish I had that picture to show you guys, but Wednesday night, the Governor Bradford is doing ramen night.
Ooh.
And it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of off-season.
And the club, too.
Oh, and the club is doing Mexican Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I think it's Tuesdays and Wednesdays at the club. Rosie's is going to be Fridays and Saturdays during the off season. So it's really nice that people are coming together to like, we'll do these 2 days and we'll do these 2 days, like sort of patching together some options for us in the off season. And we're all really grateful for that. Thank you guys so much too. And
Thank you to all our viewers.
Yeah.
Thank you to our sponsors.
the Be Well Cannabis Dispensary, the Red Inn Cafe Heaven, the Provincetown Brewing Company, the Adam Howard Metal Workshop at 3 Bradford Street, ProjectValorSailing.org,
Crown and Anchor.
and the Crown and Anchor.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next Friday.
Yeah. Thanks for waking up in
He's going to
Provincetown.
be in New Orleans next Friday.
Good morning, everybody.